Recording. And I would love to start. First of all, thank you for showing up for yourself and thank you for choosing this experience. It feels like the first session that we had on Saturday was so nourishing for me, right? I really love the vibration of receiving, and I want you to know there's nothing planned for today. There is a rascal energy that is running through me, and I am more and more in trust of the channel when it opens. And when it opens and the divine grace begins to speak to us, and isn't that amazing? And then, did you have a chance to listen to a meditation on divine knows what you need? Divine knows what you need. Yeah, several times. I love it, Satya. So I'm glad. It's only 19 minutes. It's not very long. You know what I'm grateful for? I'm grateful that I have cacao. I want to start with what I'm happy and grateful for. I'm really grateful for the plant of cacao that is here with us, and I have it in this beautiful Peruvian mug that I brought from Peru. And I always say if I have cacao and I have kava and I have blue lotus, three of my plant allies, I can do anything. I can meet anything with a smile and a good attitude. So I want to say thank you, cacao. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you so much. I love this beautiful plant ally. Mahalo cacao, mahala. Darlings, what would you like to receive today? Put in the chat. What is that you're desiring to receive today? I know for sure I want to play you a song that I just found on Spotify. And it's really, really powerful. And I want to tell you some stories of some miraculous receiving that I have learned, I have experienced in my life that built this receiving muscle. But before we go there, I would love to know, what would you like to receive? And Rosalind says, a healthy detachment from the outside world and other people's decisions. Oh my goodness, Rosalind, I just went through this morning. I just went through this morning where I had an experience where, I totally did. I had an experience where I got irritated. I got irritated by somebody's decision, and I tapped into some anger. And instead of suppressing it, I really met it. I went into it, and then I told myself, you don't need to fight this battle. Trust the divine. The divine is the ultimate harmonizer. So give it up to the divine. And instead I went and I worked out, lift some weights, sweat in the sauna. And the little bit of agitation still remains, but I am releasing it one step at a time. So I want you to know, darlings, I have experiences where my buttons being pushed, where I get destabilized from my center, where where I feel I could have received more, and I sometimes don't feel fully recognized for everything I give. And there is a bitterness that can come into your heart. And what I choose to do, I choose not to allow bitterness to build in my heart. It's always a choice, the bitterness can sneak up on you, and it can feel very like you have the right to be bitter, you have the right to be disappointed, you have a right to hold a grudge. And I choose not to listen to that voice. And I read it first in an amazing translation of Egyptian Book of the Dead, which is one of my favorite books in the entire world. And it's basically a book of prayers. and a book of invocations. And Osiris, who was an ancient god of regeneration and rebirth and fertility, and he was known as a wise and gentle ruler. In one of the poems, he prays to Spirit and he says, "Don't let the bitterness enter my heart." And he had all the reasons to be bitter. He was assassinated by his own brother in the middle of the daylight at his own birthday party. Like, he could have got bitter, right? He could have said, "I have the right to be bitter for 100 lifetimes after that." But the reason why he was known as a wise and gentle ruler, he said, "Don't let the bitterness enter my heart. Don't let the bitterness enter my heart." So this came to my heart to share with you. One, it's just so nourishing for us to trust that softness does not make us exposed to other people's stuff, doesn't make us weak. Softness is not weakness. Softness is a deeper kind of inner power, right? It's like a Tai Chi master or any kind of, I think about the martial arts. When you look at martial arts, people who practice it for 30 years, right? Who are really devoted their life to this craft. There's so much elegance and softness in their movement, right? You wouldn't call the martial artist a weak person, but there is no aggression, there is no force, there is no, there is no force. There is this quiet confidence in their skills. Quiet confidence in reading the environment and knowing when to move away, when to meet the moment, when to use their body posture to prevent something from happening. Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. I don't ever want to accept this erroneous thought that I have to become hard to be strong or to be respected. You know, I am choosing to trust that softness and receptivity can go really, really far in relationships. You know, vulnerability is a lubricant of intimacy. And if we can't be vulnerable with each other, if we can't be vulnerable in our relationships, the relationships will dry up, right? So it's really, really powerful, darlings. Receptivity. Are we receptive? Do we see it as strength, or is there a belief in us that to be soft means to be weak, and other people will take advantage of your kindness, of your softness? So, let's see. I want to see what Satya says. I desire today to access my guidance and trust in knowing and feeling inspired to take action that is in the highest divine alignment. To access my guidance. Yes. Okay. Thank you for giving me this, Satya. Yesterday I was studying the book of the channeled writings of Seth. Who knows that entity, disembodied entity Seth? Very, very early teachings, right? So I did not grow up in the US, and a lot of teachers like channel teachings like Ramtha or Seth, I was behind the wall in the Soviet Union. I had no idea about Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson. I didn't know any of these teachers growing up because we in Soviet Union and Russia, we were behind the wall, literally. And when I came to US 22 years ago, and it's an amazing story of great receiving, how it all unfolded, I was like a child discovering all these incredible teachers. And when I moved in with my partner 10 months ago, we both have very rich mystical library. And not only we both have a ton of oracle decks, we both have rich mystical library. And it was so exciting for me to look through his books and for him to look through my books. And now it's our books, it's our library. So he has a huge stack of Seth material. And I just loved it so much. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I spent the entire afternoon reading one book and finished it and started another one. And Seth was talking about the magical way of living in one of the books. And he said, the problem with what you are facing as in your human understanding is that you don't see relaxation as a part of your creative process. You want your creativity to be like a commercial, like you got to learn which buttons to push, and the creativity just pumps at you, and you sit down by your desk and you say, okay, I gotta produce, I gotta pump it out, I gotta create content, I have a content calendar. And he says, wait a second, divine creativity is a magical creativity. It's a creativity of your natural inner magical self. And that moves to the rhythm and cycles of nature. And that's the first lesson. If you truly desire to bring something original and divinely inspired, it can't be mechanically produced, pushed buttons, put in the formula, fill in the templates, pre-record, pump it out. You know, it's very seductive to think that we can do that, but in order for us to receive this divine inspiration, this divine vision, in order for us to receive that divine assignment, that next step, we get to create space. And when we are not prompted to act, do we have the trust to wait? And waiting is not passive experience. Waiting is expanding your receptivity, right? Waiting is resting. Waiting is maybe refining what you already created. Waiting is maybe being of service to others. While you're waiting for your divine inspiration, you can help out your neighbor. You can spend more quality time with your partner, right? But I thought it was such a luminous idea, darlings, that relaxation is a part of the creative process. And for the last several years, I have stepped away from a mechanical view of my spiritual business, that it has to pump out these things and it has to produce and it has to hit these revenue goals, and I have to just like find the way and deliver, and I realized that more and more of that did not make my heart sing and did not produce the sustainable joy for me. So I began to learn from nature, and I say, how does nature create? Well, look at nature. Nature has 4 seasons. And when the winter comes, you see receptivity in its nakedness. The trees are naked. I have this beautiful fig tree in front of me where I look into my office, and now it's completely naked. Maybe there is 5 leaves on it. And I was so excited to see the new buds. The new buds are on it now, and the spring is coming. And in a very short time, like 2 months, the tree will be just filled with luscious green leaves, and it will continue to bloom and grow and grow and grow to the point like you can't even see the branches. It's covered with leaves. The receptivity is impossible without trust. And trust in what? Trust in several things, but first thing that comes to mind, trust in your deeper self. The trust in your magical, natural self, your instinctual self, your soul self, that has an innate way to be, to adapt to its environment in a way, innate way. So exactly where you placed, and the reason why you placed there, it's because your soul seeing the greatest and most fertile opportunities for your growth at this time. And when we argue with that, we create our own suffering, we create dissatisfaction, and we just make our learning longer. And I can tell you this because I grew up in environments where it was very hard to be in. And I had to go through a lot of sadness and melancholy and like full-on depression because I felt like I was dropped in the wrong location and the wrong time. Will I ever be somewhere else? And all the most incredible openings, the openings to new reality, the doors to new dimensions would happen by grace. By grace. Every single miraculous event in my life arrived to me by grace, as if quantum field itself gathered its magic and resources and just took form in front of this event. My first trip to US just was offered to me on a silver platter through the sources I could never expect. But there is a formula to it. If I break down and codify events and how the quantum field, how does the cosmos work, and after many, many experiences of these miraculous events where beautiful things would just be given to me, I would say, well, what happened before that? Because there is always a connection, right? I'm like, what happened before that? And every single event had something in common. And what was in common is being willing to be of value to others. How I got invited to come to US first time? I was babysitting 3 boys. I was I was living in a seminary. So I spent 3 years in a spiritual commune in a seminary, training to be a religious minister, long time ago. And in that seminary, I had no way of earning money at all. There was no way. So everything in that seminary was trade of your labor. So whatever skills you have of washing cafeteria, serving food, peeling potatoes for everybody's dinner, it was a trade of your skill. That's it. So if anything I needed for my feminine products, toothpaste, anything like that, you just relied on divine providence. And I remember I have experienced so much divine grace. Total stranger would send me an envelope, anonymous envelope with $1 in it, and I would go to the exchange place, because I lived in Ukraine at that time. So, and I would go to exchange place, and that dollar would equal 10 Ukraine money. It was just enough to buy the toothpaste and some tampons. But things like these were happening. And then next time, I'm like, I don't have any money and no way to earn, only trading my physical skills. And then somebody would say, Katerina, can you teach me Russian? I'm going to be here for the semester. I am a teacher from England. We can have tea and you can teach me Russian, and I'm going to pay you $5 per lesson. I was so happy. $5 per lesson? Oh my gosh. Yes, I'm available. And to have a tea with the English lady who is a teacher in our college. Those were some of the greatest memory. And I've never taught Russian before to anyone, but I just knew if this is opportunity coming to me, I am fully ready to receive it. So I remember those days where I would come to her place where she lived on our campus, and we would drink tea, English lady, English tea, and we would just go and learn a few words. And she would ask me about my life and about the culture. Receptivity, right? And then on a year or two of that living at that seminary, two of my professors who had those three boys, they said, Katerina, our regular babysitter is not available. Are you available to watch our boys? I was like, I've never been babysitter, but it's coming to me. I'm going to say yes. So I watched the boys, and the boys loved me, and the family began to trust me more and more, to the point that they would leave me with their boys for 2 days when they had to go on their missionary trips. And I loved that. I loved being with those boys. The little one was 3, 5, and 10. And I got to know them, and we formed a relationship. But by the end of my college, Ted and Kate, they were the couple. They talked to me and they said, Katerina, we know how much you love everything American, and you taught yourself English. And would you like to come to the United States with us for 3 months and help us with our boys? And we're going to be traveling to all the churches who have been supporting our mission. And we would love to have you represent the college that you just graduated. Divine grace. Could I ever strategize that? Could I ever plan that? Could I ever hustle my way to that? No. But what were the conditions? What were the seeds? The seeds were say yes to every small, insignificant invitation that comes to you. And you say yes. Yeah. Russian lesson? Yes. Babysitting kids? Yes. And having that heart of appreciation, $5 per lesson. Oh my God. I feel like I felt so rich. You know, darlings, so some of the sweetest memories of my life. And I can tell you a story how very similar way I received a client who literally wired $111,000 into my account to work with me privately one-on-one. That was like a shock in my career, divine shock. Because, I've sold some big packages, 30,000, 25, 75, but never that high. And never from one call, 10-minute conversation about it. But what I want to tell you what happened before, exactly a week prior to that experience, because I record everything in my life. I keep very detailed journal of my thoughts, of my intentions, of what's happening through me. And a week before, I wrote in my journal, I am ready to receive a client who wants to work with me at a 6-figure level. Thank you, universe. And I just forgot about it. I wrote it. I was like, that would be nice. That would be so amazing. That would be just incredible. I wrote it and I let it go. And I very quickly forgot about it. And a week later, this person shows up, right? Divinely appointed. And when I asked this person, some of you may have heard the story, how did you find me? This client said, I saw you giving a testimonial for a mentor that you worked with. And I connected to your energy, and I just start tracking you online. Where are you? What are you offering? What can I buy from you? That person never been to any of my webinars, never attended to any of my classes. It was like, boom. I saw it as a quantum field itself, folding itself into this geometry to give me an experience of what is possible without me earning it. without me killing myself over it. It says, hey, look what I can do for you. Look what I can give you. And the key, as I'm tracking it, the key is genuine value. When you bring genuine value to the world, it does not go unnoticed by the quantum field, by the divine net. It doesn't go unnoticed that you are the one who cultivates good attitude. You are the one who learns and studies and wants to develop your potential. You're the one who, instead of Netflix and beer, you want to be on the webinar. You want to get inspired. You want to squeeze the lemon out of the lemon juice, whatever the metaphor is, but you want to be for your life. You want to be alive. You want to be connected. You want to be of value to the world. It doesn't go unnoticed, ever. And but if we do it because we want to make sure that the universe is noticing us, it kills its magic. If we're like, I surrender so I could receive, I let go of control so I could receive, it kills its magic. It's something like, it can only happen as a heart choice. Where you say, if I am really here to be of service, if service means contribution and growth and the fulfillment of my divine calling, I'm going to do it no matter what. I'm going to do it if there's a one person, or if there is two people, or if there is 20 or 100, or if there is nobody. Right? I'm doing it because of the joy and because I know it's my task to do. Oh, this is the essence of magic, darlings. And if you knew that the divine is that loving presence, benevolent, cooperative presence. This is how I look at the divine. I look at the divine as billions of eyes. Yes, Larry, yes. I see the billions of eyes, these loving eyes. And I also see a ton of beautiful arms reaching to me. Like when you look at the Hindu statues, you go to India. I can't wait to go to India. I love many ancient cultures. India has been so deeply moving for me when I was there. And you could see many deities have multiple arms, right? Some of them have like 20, 30 arms. You can't even count how many. And I always love that image that the divine has enough hands for all of us. Nobody is without being held by the divine. Not everybody is receiving it. Not everybody is in awareness that's available for them. But as kids, or as little ones, we had that original innocence, original awareness that our life can be trusted. That's why the childhood is so magical. At least the beginning of it, right? You look at the world with all the colors and there's so much to explore and play, but the deep inside, your wiring was not fractured just yet. Your wiring was, life is here to be trusted. I am welcomed. I am desired. Look at that. Right? No matter what our parents did or did not, or caregivers, we had a glimpse of that. So, like, to me, receptivity is focusing on that life can be trusted. And if life can be trusted, and there is this deeper self that is within you, within me, that has a compass that guides us towards how can we be valuable to our environment. And our environment is already pregnant with opportunities and possibilities that are divinely aligned for us. Then, what would you create? If you knew the divine is unconditionally supportive, what would you create? It's a magical thing to contemplate. What would you create? Or what message, what expression of your being you would offer to the world? So my romantic partner and I created together an oracle deck and a journal. We are opening a page tomorrow where people can actually support us and pledge for a journal or an oracle deck. But that creation would not take place if either one of us said something like this: there are so many oracle decks in the world. What's the point of creating ours? There are so many journals in the world. Why would we need to put this time and this dedication and creativity into our journal? Right? The idea would be killed. Idea would not take form. But because the journey of creating something original, something fresh, something that has your energetic vibration, right? Like whether you create a mug, this is the mug that I brought from Peru, and the gentleman from Peru who didn't speak English, he just knew one word, thank you, and I don't speak Spanish. I know 3 words, but we've met on, I admired the cup and I was like, I want to buy the cup from him. And now this cup carries the frequency of Peru, and every time I drink from this cup, I think about my beloved Peru, right? So when we create something, we fuse our energy into creation, we fuse our creativity, we fuse our soul, and it lives beyond us. So yes, we can listen to the voice. What's the point creating anything? Because everything has been already created. And this is the way we cut ourselves off from the fulfillment. And we stay stuck in the survival and struggle. Because 2 choices are available right now: survival, familiar, dense, isolating, fulfillment. Not much guarantee that it's gonna work. A whole lot of unknown, but so much aliveness. And if you choose fulfillment, if you open yourself up to receive, to experience the most fulfillment in your life, you're gonna grow at the level that most people only read in books as possible. You will compress so many experiences that you can have one lifetime that is equivalent of 20 or 30, because you say yes, you continue to say yes to the guidance of your soul, whether it's the book or the podcast or an artwork or opening a shop or traveling to another country, right? You say yes. Before you can receive, you say yes to it, you welcome it. You say, I welcome it, I receive. So we don't go for our true calling, our true desires, because we fear that we're going to fail. We're going to run out of support, run out of money, run out of ideas, run out of energy, right? Or whatever the reason is. Run out of time, it's too late, it's too early. Then we have a choice. Here's a life of struggle, survival, density, life of fulfillment, aliveness. I'm doing it because I can't help myself. I must experience what happens where I follow my soul, where I create, because I was born to create. So, darlings, it's really powerful. You know, when I ask myself, what do I want to create next? I want to create books. I want to create products. It's very illogical desire, right? Because both books and products require significant investment up front and very little guarantee of it to be financially prosperous. But it's my heart tells me products and books. So I listen to it and I say, okay, I'm gonna create this and see. And like when I held a physical product in my hands, starting from the book that I published in 2024, there's something about holding the physical product in your hands is really magical. It's really, really magical. So I just wanted to share that with you because I have been deeply enjoying the frequency of receptivity. There is this energy of effortlessness in it. There is this energy of ease. There is energy of flow, of creative passion, right? There's this trust of the moment, trust into your deeper self, trust into your creative abilities. And if you know that you receive from the cosmos itself, sometimes it comes through other people or from other people, but in a deeper dimension, the source of everything that you receive comes to you from the quantum field, from this mythical dimension that informs physical dimension. So I love saying thank you. Thank you for everything. And even specifically for things that look like they've been taken away from me. Like what happened this morning, I had an experience that looked like something was taken away from me. And at first my ego got rattled and I wanted to assert my authority. And I felt that. I was like, okay, yeah, you can go there. You can show what a badass you are. And can you just take a breath and lean back and listen to your guides? What do your guides say? Oh, your guides say it's a divine protection in disguise. This, you always ask for divine protection. Every day you invoke divine protection. This is a form of divine protection. That this person, this deal or whatnot, has been removed out of your life. Beautiful way. Because your protection comes first. I said, oh, thank you guys, thank you guys, thank you guys. So when something doesn't work out or doesn't appear to be given to you, right, even if you ask, I have found two main reasons. It's for your own good, for your own protection, or simply a matter of timing. Because when we begin to see ourselves as a part of the whole, not as a star of the show, right? We are not the star of the show. We are part of the process, evolutionary process that is moving through the world. And that is such a grounding place to find yourself. I am a part of the process. I'm part of the great evolutionary unfolding, that anything that I intend to happen is deeply connected with all the parts. So the divine timing is the wisdom of the whole. That if something doesn't come to you, no matter how much deeply you want it and you know you're worthy and you're ready for it, it's simply because the whole is moving through its process and you're part of the whole. And when all things come into the divine alignment in this beautiful harmonious geometry, boom, whatever you truly wanted and desired just reveals itself to you. And I can tell you this with an example of my relationship, I thought I was ready for the last 3 years before my relationship came. And I was very content with myself. I'm like a cat. I'm very self-sufficient, living with myself, easily entertained with myself, right? So I wasn't like dying without a relationship, but there was a deep longing. And I was like, I feel I've learned everything I wanted to learn on my own. I would love to experience a rich curriculum of aligned partnership. Divine Mother, I'm ready. Do you know that I'm ready? So I kept asking and asking, and then I had this spontaneous realization, just how I wouldn't ask my friend 20 times about something, I would trust that I ask my trusted friend and they remembered it because they love me and they care about me, and they said, yeah, I remember this. I stopped asking and I surrendered and I said, I trust your wisdom, Divine Mother. I trust your divine timing. And you know what's so beautiful? When my partner and I met, we both were talking about the genius of the divine and the brilliance of the timing that we met, because even a week before we met, the timing would be a little off. So the genius of the divine, when you remember from a session 1, when you become more relaxed, relaxation is so good for our immunity, our creative visionary thinking. And through relaxation, you can drop into your heart, so you can speak from your heart, and you will be received so much better when you come from the heart. Right? You can come from toughness. Trust me, this is the easiest. It's almost like a button in my psyche. For me to be tough is the easiest thing. Ooh, ooh, ooh. But I have learned that I no longer need to access that button, the warrior in me. You know, I've lived decades in that archetype. It's like it's there, it's available. But to speak from the heart, you are so much more in resonance with other people's hearts. And that takes vulnerability, you know, that takes willingness to let others see into your soul. And at times it will feel like being exposed. So, darlings, receptivity. I'm going to put my glasses on to see if anything that you have a question or anything that you want to hear. Clarification. Or what resonated with you? What touched you? Was anything you felt like, wow, I can really relate with that? Amanda says, it all really hit home. Thank you so much. Thanks, Amanda. So good to see you, sweetheart. Patty, I know Spirit is asking me to either modify what I offer or how I offer my gifts, but I don't hear a clear answer. How and what? Trust what you know, Patty. The first part, I know Spirit is asking me to either modify what I offer. Experiment, beloved. You cannot fail in experiments. So much of us offering our gifts or putting our work in the world is a process of experimenting. You know, it's not going to land the first time you talk about your work and about your gifts. It's not going to land with everybody on the 100th time that you talk about your gifts. So you keep refining and you keep mastering the language. And when you embrace that, I am here to master the way that I use my voice. And I'm here for the patience of that, how I offer my gifts. Yes, yes, yes. So, Patty, experiment and ask yourself what has landed consistently in the past. And track all that has landed consistently in the past. Then you know that resonated. What hasn't been landing consistently in the recent past? That's where you get to see what do I pivot? How do I offer it? Larry says, a soul-aligned romantic partnership. Yeah, it's a beautiful intention. You know my intention, Larry, when I was talking to Divine Mother, my prayer was, open my eyes to recognize my full vibrational heart match. That's a very powerful prayer that you can carry in your heart. It could be, you will find your own version of that. But it's really, really powerful. Yes, darlings. So I feel receptivity is a part of the surrender curriculums and the sweetness of surrender. Surrender can be so sweet, where you are surrendering into the truth of your being, that you are not a separate identity, but you are part of energetic ocean. And you have always been a part of energetic ocean. And you always had this loving presence with you. I tell my partner that ever since I was a little child, I always felt loving presence with me. I always felt spirit. And I was raised without any spirituality. Not only my mom, because I grew up with a single mom, she wasn't religious, spiritual. She wasn't even an atheist. She was just a survivor. She was a survivor, a hard worker on factories and, washing dishes and cleaning. And then when she was not surviving, she was partying, just to forget the hard life that she had. She would party and drink. So there were no conversation about spirit. But I always felt that loving presence with me, and that protected me, that guided me, and that gave me hope that the environment that I was in not gonna be like that forever, that better days are coming. And I was looking forward to those better days, and as a kid I've learned to dive into my inner world in order to escape the chaotic environment. I began a diver of my inner world, and the inner world was so fascinating. Like there was so much to find there. And I started developing these amazing ways to navigate inner space and to listen and what's there. So I find if we take that as a metaphor, the louder the external world becomes, the more we can see the importance of us diving into our inner world and listening for our own guidance, because nobody can tell you what is it for you to do next. Only you know. And if you don't have clarity, you keep asking, Spirit, show me clearly, give me a sign. And when you know you need to act, or it's time for you to act, just act on what you know. Just act, baby step, baby step, baby step. Yeah, and it's the life is moving at a very vast evolutionary speed. If we could have planned anything 5 years ago, 6 years ago, right? If 6 years ago, planning was actually still relevant. Now, with evolutionary speed of the planet, it's very challenging to plan your life. So you can plan every day you wake up, you're like, I am going to raise my vibration today. That's my number one task. And then I'm gonna ask Spirit, how can I be valuable to my environment? Because I am placed strategically in this environment. How can I bring value to my environment? What is useful? Where are my gifts and my skills I needed? You know, and sometimes, Patty, I was gonna share with you, sometimes it's asking the question. This morning, because I practice automated writing, talking to my guides pretty much every morning. This morning I asked the question and I didn't hear the answer. And I said, I'm just gonna sit in silence because I'm not hearing the answer right away, which is unusual. So I'm sitting and then I'm starting having this thought that I need to ask the question differently. Because my guides want that vibrational precision. And I said, oh, okay, you want me to ask the question differently. So I rewrote the question, and then the answers flew. The answers came. So a question that I want to offer you, anybody who practices automated writing or talking to your guides or spiritual journaling, the question could be to your guides, what do I need to ask that I have not asked yet? This is a phenomenal question because sometimes we think we ask all the right questions. But the right question is like a key that opens the door, the new portal, the new reality. So you can say, beloved guides, what I haven't asked that would be useful for me to ask. Beautiful, right? Darlings, anyone else has a question or a comment? Today is a Martin Luther King Day. And there's an event 10 minutes away from me. There is this beautiful center called World Beat Center. And the first time I went there for a charity event that my friends were hosting, and I walked into it, and it's a circular, like a circle looking building. And I walk in there and all the walls are covered with Egyptian gods and ankhs. I said, this is my home. And it's led by this elder who is here to cultivate African heritage and African American heritage and all of that. So they're having a celebration there. So if I don't see any more questions, if you feel complete, let's close this time. I want to say thank you for showing up for yourself. Thank you for receiving. I am intending to have this second part, the third part transcribed. So to add the chapter to the book for those of you who prefer to read. And if you'd like to be a part of the things that are coming through, I create a lot. The most recent creation is an oracle deck that I created with my partner and a guided journal. It's going to be available tomorrow. It's really beautiful. You'll see pictures and videos on the photo on my social media. Egypt tour is happening. I didn't even realize it's going to happen, but you see, being receptive. We're going back to Egypt on a mystical tour, mystical pilgrimage, and we're already half full, more than half full. But 7 people sign up in first 3 days, and to me that's a really a sign that this is meant to happen. So if you'd like to join us on the Temples of Egypt, it's a 10-day experience that we're going to be there in November. Email me, stalk me on social media. The posts are always there. And of course, I'm going to send an email about that. Thanks, Raluca. I am so excited to go back to those temples. And what else, darlings? I have a rich library of classes and courses that are available anytime for you. I'll send the link. So let's create a powerful year, a new definition of power. You know, the power of softness and the power of allowing and the power of trusting our deeper self and the power of trusting our creative self and the power of seeing life as a dance, not as a competition, not as a tournament to compete, right? Not as an obstacle course. I mean, all of those options are available. The benevolence of the field around us, it gives us all the options to choose from. We can participate in life as an obstacle course, or a tournament, or a battle, or a gladiator show. I really love seeing life as a dance. So I love learning new dance moves. And I just show up on a dance floor, we dance. And when life asks me to rest, because nobody can dance 24 hours a day, I enjoy my rest because I know the next dance is coming. So rest is a part of creativity. Rest is a part of creative process. So I offer you this, that you are so worthy to rest more. And this is what I did last year. I gave myself full permission to rest. I mean, I had to because I changed my entire life and I moved in with my partner. It was a huge change. So the grace and the silver lining of that transition is I rested so much. I was creating a new home with my partner, creating a family. But during that time, I gave myself so much rest and it felt so good. So are we able to trust the chapters of rest where it looks like not much is happening? But as my dear friend Sai, who is an incredible being, my soul brother, he's like an ancient yogi in a young man's body. He's like 500 years old on the soul level or more, but he's my peer, and he says, when it appears that not much happening on the outside, that's when things are really happening on a deeper dimension. Because everything that happens on the external take root in the mythic. Everything. So if there is a time of stillness in your life where it feels like nothing is moving, because it's moving somewhere else. It's moving in the deeper dimension. And receptivity is a part of our ability to see that, right? And not grasp and not try to move the immovable. But you say, wait a second, I heard in Katerina's class. Now I can really contemplate on this. What if I don't need to panic when nothing is happening? What if I can relax the stone in my stomach? Practice those breathing exercises. Go on a timeless walk. Take a watercolor class just for the joy of it. And be with myself, knowing that entire cosmos rests me, gives me a rest before it's time to go on another adventure, on another creative adventure, before it's time to participate in this rapid evolutionary process that I'm a part of. And isn't it amazing to let go of the idea that you are the star of the show? I don't want to be a star of the show. I don't want that pressure. I am so happy to be a part of evolutionary process where we all participate in the process. And your participation and my participation, and we're reminding each other about our participation, how important it is. It's amazing when you begin to question the heroic archetypes. You got to be a hero of your life, and you go on a hero's journey. Okay, that could be useful 20 years ago, but what kind of journey you want to be on right now? I like being on an ecstatic dance journey with the cosmos. I love seeing my business as a creative, exciting adventure. I love being in deep relationship with my muse, that my muse always comes. I gotta keep my office inspiring and clear and filled with beauty, because muse doesn't come to the mess. Doesn't come to the mess. Muse loves spaciousness, beauty, harmony. So my job to keep my creative place that attractive to the muse. And the muse always comes and says, you wanna dance again? You wanna go on a dance? You wanna play? So darlings, I am obsessed with archetypes. I love archetypes and myth, because archetypal myths are maps. They're maps to navigate the soul, and they're not something that happened 3,000 years ago. A myth is something that is unfolding right now. And every time you hear the right myth, or the myth that really moves you, you participate in the unfolding of the myth. So for a long time, we have been presented with one kind of what it's called mono myth. And it's a myth of the hero journey, Joseph Campbell. And I am happy to share with you there is the other ways to experience reality. It's not just only myth. I love the myth of the ecstatic explorer. I love the myth that every single one of us is born with genius. I love this map of evolution that we already come to this reality with everything we require to fulfill our potential. All we need to do is to activate those dormant abilities. How do we activate it? By diving within. By sharing our gifts. We nourish our gifts by sharing them. If we don't share our gifts, we don't know how to develop them. So this could be a whole other conversation, a whole other webinar. But I wanted to share with you that, whenever I talk about goddesses, I'm a huge lover of divine feminine. And whenever I talk about goddess story of Durga or Kali or Isis or Lakshmi, and they each have a myth, basically a map of how their energy is coming through to our planet, and how you can find your place in that great story that is always unfolding. So whenever you feel like you need inspiration, you desire inspiration, you want to be boosted, study more myths of ancient stories that are happening right now, every single moment of the time. And you begin to see yourself, which part of the myth that I'm living right now. But I can just tell you from where I am finding myself in, I'm not interested in being a hero anymore. And I really love being a dancer. I love to dance with cosmos. I love seeing that I can hold the hands of the divine, the golden fingers, and I love seeing that we're together. My divine is with me. I'm always in the divine like this golden egg, and so are you. So then everything you create is fruitful. Everything you decide to do will be beneficial for your growth. When you find yourself in that indecision paralysis, just do something, just take a step. You're gonna learn through anything and everything. I had no idea we're gonna go here, but that's the beauty of it. I wanted to say thank you. for spending this time with me in the first event of 2026. I hope there is more room in your heart for receptivity. And I hope you find more support in love, in abundance, in joy, and you open yourself up to co-creation with the cosmos more and more and more. Thank you, darlings. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I'm going to send out this recording. And if any insights or breakthroughs appear after this experience, just send me a message or leave me a comment on social media. Send me an email. Send me a pigeon. I'm sure we will see each other again in many different ways that the divine wants to dance through us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you.